Hey you gamers, Rosewaltz here with a brand new series where I explain to you fighting game terms. This is mostly for beginners as a way to not seem so daunted by all of the weird terminology we've got in fighting games. So let's get it started. First off, we're going to talk notation. Fighting game terms typically come in two different varieties. You've got directional notation and numpad notation. We're going to keep this nice and easy for the most part. So in games like Tekken, you'll typically see directional notation. You'll have things like UF being notated in combos, meaning up forward, or you'll have things like down, or down forward, or down back, etc. It's pretty straightforward. It just mentions which direction you need to hit on your control stick, or on your leverless, or on your pad, what have you, as well as the attack buttons you need to use. So in Tekken's case, you would use like 1, 2, 3, 4, but that varies by game. Numpad notation is a little bit of a different beast. It typically comes from anime fighters. I know the first time I was introduced to it was in Gundam Extreme vs. Maxi Boost On, but it is fairly straightforward. So you just have to think about when you're looking at a numpad, whether you've got one on your keyboard or your calculator, what have you. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc. And those numbers just correspond to the direction if your character is facing to the right, if that makes sense. So from the player one side. So say you wanted to hit like 6 heavy, that would mean you're pressing forward towards the opponent and your heavy button. Whereas something like 2 heavy, typically something like a sweep, would be down, because that's where 2 is on the numpad. It sounds super complicated at first, but it isn't that bad. However, things do start getting complicated when combo notations run a bit wild. One of these examples is in 2XKO. There are buttons, which are denoted with Special 1 and Special 2. The downside is that people for that game generally seem to be using numpad notation instead of directional notation, which can make for some really awkward notations that just say like 2S2, which can be confusing, so 2XKO players have taken to putting exponents in their combo, which is a bit wild, but hey, if it makes sense, it makes sense.